everyone loves a good underdog story. AMD, famous for pipping Intel on price and performance back in the days of the Athlon XP a decade ago, has had a bad run since then. While the GPU performance crown has swung back and forth between AMD and Nvidia many times, things have been rather dire on the CPU side, to the point that barely any mainstream customers even look for AMD options anymore. Even in its heyday, AMD was only really popular amongst enthusiasts, particularly those who built their own PCs and did their own research. Intel stole a huge lead when the market shifted towards ready-made laptops, and has held on to it ever since. AMD is practically absent from the laptop market today, and its desktop chips have only been powerful enough to compete with the bottom of Intel's stack. That means it hasn't had any premium high-margin CPUs to sell in ages, compromising its bottom line and diminishing its ability to compete again. Still, fans have rallied around AMD and have been excited for each new attempt to regain its standing. Efforts like Fusion and HSA, combining the power of heterogeneous CPUs and GPUs, show that AMD has been thinking very differently about modern computer architecture. It has tried to position itself as the only company that can deliver compute and graphics power together. All of that has led up to this moment, the release of new CPUs named Ryzen, which promise to not only catch up to Intel's most powerful current products, but blow them out of the water. AMD disclosed many of the Ryzen line's unique features a few months ago, and claimed at the official launch of the premium Ryzen 7 series last week that its fastest model beats an equivalent Intel chip, that too for just under half the price. It's a massive claim, and if true, it means that AMD might have finally dug itself out of its hole. We're putting the brand new Ryzen 7 1800X through its paces in our lab today, and we can't wait to see how things turn out. The AMD Ryzen R7 1800X AMD will flesh out its Zen architecture-based portfolio as 2017 progresses, adding laptop and server chips, APUs with integrated graphics, and more mainstream models. However, for now, we have only 3 premium desktop CPUs at launch time, the Ryzen 7 1700, 1700X and 1800X. These are officially priced at Rs. 24,499, Rs. 29,499, and Rs. 37,999 respectively, and are available for purchase in India already. The main thing to note about the Ryzen 7 series is that all 3 models have 8 physical CPU cores, each of which is multi-threaded for a total of 16 simultaneous threads. Intel's lone 8-core offering is the Core i7-16900K, which sells for roughly Rs. 83,500. This is the model against which AMD is pegging the Ryzen 7 1800X, really putting Intel's steep price premium into focus. While the Ryzen 7 1800X has a rated TDP of 95 watts, the Core i7-16900 can dissipate up to 140 watts. AMD points out that while not all games and apps will take advantage of 8 physical cores, there's nothing wrong with having that much power on top, and it might even help motivate software developers to push their limits. The company even agrees with Intel's megatasking premise, which argues that lots of people today want to play a game, encode and broadcast a live video stream, and have a few other utilities running at the same time on one single machine. The 1800X has a base clock speed of 3.6 GHz and can jump up to 4.0 GHz on demand. However, AMD has devised ways to push that even further, without manual overclocking. Each CPU has dozens of embedded sensors that measure temperature, voltage and heat to minute degrees of accuracy hundreds of times per second. For an in-depth look at AMD's Zen architecture, the new AM4 platform, chipsets and coolers, check out our guide on the subject. AMD Ryzen 7 1800X usage and performance. We tested our Ryzen 7 1800X sample with the following components. The CPU, motherboard, RAM and cooler were all provided by AMD for the purpose of this review. We haven't tested Intel's Core i7-6900K, but we have had some experience with its 10-core sibling, the Core i7-6950X. Test conditions were not identical between the two, and of course Intel's offering costs nearly 4 times as much as AMD's, so this is not a direct comparison. You can also refer to our reviews of Intel's Core i7-6700K and Core i7-7700K. We present the Intel numbers primarily as points of reference. Verdict: if these early impressions are anything to go by, AMD is back with an enormous bang. We still need to see how things go out in the real world, but we can easily say that fans should be elated and Intel should be worried. The Ryzen 7 1800X pretty much wipes out any need for Intel's current high-end Core i7 lineup to exist. It offers nearly equivalent performance at a fraction of the price, and with lower heat dissipation as the cherry on top. If you're looking to upgrade from a PC that's 4 or more years old, you suddenly have a whole new universe of choices open to you. We've said in our reviews of Intel's past few releases that there was no AMD equivalent worth mentioning as a potential alternative. Ryzen has changed that. Considering the incredible complexity of CPUs and the billion-dollar costs involved in development, this is a stunning achievement for AMD. But all practical matters aside, this is a moment for PC enthusiasts to savor. There hasn't been such a dramatic shift in dynamics in over a decade. It's nice to see AMD succeed not only in terms of power, and not only because credible competition is great for us, but also because there are new ideas and new energy in a market that no one has cared about for too long. It's good to see AMD back in the game.